Dear expert, welcome. This webinar will briefly outline the ethical principles for Horizon Europe and highlight some aspects that are of particular importance for the evaluation of scientific proposals. Ethics and research integrity are a prerequisite for achieving excellence in research and innovation. Therefore, to build and sustain trust in science and innovation, ethics and research integrity are important parts of the proposal evaluation process for all activities that are funded by the EU framework programs. The main objective is to incorporate into the research and innovation process key EU values, including respect for human dignity, the physical and mental integrity of a person, the principle of proportionality, privacy, personal data protection, non-discrimination, the protection of the environment, and high levels of human health protection. To achieve these goals, the evaluation process is designed firstly to ensure that all funded activities are executed in accordance with high ethical standards and the relevant EU, national and international legislation, including fundamental human rights and freedoms, and other relevant legislation, such as the General Data Protection Regulation and animal welfare rules. And secondly, to encourage and enable researchers to take into account ethical concerns from the very beginning of their research. Importantly, some activities are not eligible for funding because they contradict key ethical values. Some examples are activities that aim at human cloning, activities that aim to modify the human genetic heritage, activities that create human embryos solely for the purpose of research or stem cell procurement, and activities that result in the destruction of human embryos. More specifically, in several questions, applicants are asked to indicate which ethical issues potentially arise for their proposal. This ethics self-assessment is included in Part A of the proposal. The categories are the use of human embryonic stem cells, or HESC, and human embryos, or HE, human participants, the use of other categories of human cells or tissues, the processing of personal data, the involvement of animals, the involvement of non-EU countries, the environmental and health and safety aspects of the activities, the use and/or development of artificial intelligence-based technologies. This was introduced as a new separate category for Horizon Europe. And the other ethics issue category, which can encompass various other ethics concerns. The ethics evaluation of proposals, however, takes place after the scientific evaluation, as proposals that are listed for funding and on the reserve list undergo an ethics pre-screening and screening, and possibly a more elaborate ethics assessment if severe or complex ethics issues arise. Nevertheless, for the proper identification and consideration of the ethics issues, you, as an evaluator, must provide in your individual evaluation report answers to several specific questions. These specific questions are concerning the use of human embryos and human embryonic stem cells in the proposed activities, the activities excluded from funding, as mentioned before, and artificial intelligence, or AI. The first important question you must ask is whether the proposal involves human embryonic stem cells. This question serves as verification of the answer provided by the applicants in the ethics issues table included in Part A of the proposal. Moreover, for proposals involving HESC, a scientific opinion must be included on whether the use of HESC is necessary to achieve the scientific objectives. This information will be used by the ethics evaluators during the mandatory ethics assessment to determine whether the proposed activities comply with the principles of the Statement by the Commission on Ethics or Stem Cell Research. Importantly, Human embryonic and fetal cells or tissues other than HESC should not be mentioned here, nor other types of human-induced pluripotent stem cells. Similarly, you need to verify whether the proposed activities involve human embryos, as such activities raise serious ethics issues, and therefore must undergo a mandatory ethics assessment. If human embryos are involved, please explain in detail how the human embryos will be used, and, if some aspects are not clear, whether additional information should be provided. It is also particularly important to verify whether or not the proposal includes activities that are not eligible for funding, as this includes activities that lead to the destruction of human embryos, for example, for obtaining stem cells, and the creation of human embryos solely for the purpose of research or stem cell procurement.
Also excluded from funding are activities that aim at human cloning for reproductive purposes, and activities that intend to modify the genetic heritage of humans, which could make such changes heritable, with the exception of research relating to cancer treatment of the gonads, which may be financed.
If you think that the proposal includes any of these activities, please answer yes and tell us what the activity is. Likewise, for all activities involving the use and/or development of AI-based systems or techniques, cooperation between the scientific evaluation and ethics evaluation is important to make sure that such systems are used or developed in a safe, secure, and responsible manner. Therefore, if AI-based systems or techniques are used or developed, the technical robustness needs to be assessed by you as scientific experts under the appropriate criterion to provide additional input for the ethics evaluators, who further evaluate whether the necessary measures are in place to prevent the risks of human rights infringements, discrimination against people, significant negative social impacts, or other important ethics issues. 4 main issues need to be addressed and evaluated at the scientific evaluation stage. 1. Security. 2. Safety. 3. Accuracy. And finally, 4. Reliability, fallback plans, and reproducibility. We now come to the end of this video. Thank you for your attention and for your valuable evaluation work.